What's up guys, Matt and Tom from the Football Boots team, and today we're going to be answering a burning question, and that is, are football boots getting uglier? Now a lot of you guys out there, you do believe that football boots which are being released nowadays are so ugly compared to what they used to be, those classical football boots which are much more elegant. So what we'll be starting with today are the top 5 ugliest boots of this season. Now I'll go first and then you get a pick. My first one is going to be the Mirage Pack Glitch.
Rightio, I'm going to go with the Camouflage Everpower Vigor.
My next one is going to be the Derby Day boots by Puma.
I'm going to go with the Aquaflage Pack by Under Armour.
And wrapping all up is the Opta Pack, again by Adidas in their glitch selection. So there are 5 ugliest boots of this season, but let's move on to the actual question, are boots getting uglier? So I guess the first question to ask is, Tom, what do you think about modern day football boots and their design?
So before I can answer that question, you guys sort of have to know that I'm quite a purist when it comes to my football boots. I like the classic boot, I like leather boots, so I'm more like a black-white sort of colourway guy. But even then, I do not mind a good, nice-looking colourway if it's bright, if it's the right sort of colour scheme. But however, the release boots at the moment, they're just too bright for me, too clashy, and it's just not quite right.
So I guess Tom's really important point was that of the launch designs. When a new boot is released, a new generation, you're going to see some crazy bold colorways, especially from the likes of Nike. Thinking back to the Mercurial Superfly 5, that of course had that half and half design, something we've pretty much never seen before. One side was pink, one side was red, so they were so bold, so eye-catching, and that's exactly what Nike actually tried to do. So if people saw them on TV, they'd see them straight away, apart from all those other solid colour boots. They were the ones that all the viewers would be seeing first, the ones that would really be eye-catching on screen. And again, exactly the same, if you walked into a sports shop, the football boot section, if you saw those boots with a half and half design, they are obviously going to catch your eye the first. So I can totally understand and appreciate why Nike, Adidas and Puma actually come out with these really outrageous designs. So although the Superfly 5s are really bold, are really eye-catching and do feature the half and half design, there have been some really nice ones which completely transform the look of the Superfly 5 from a not great looking boot to a stunning looking model. So what's one of the favourite ones of yours?
Well, hands down, my favourite has to be the Vittorias. Of course, released for CR7 himself. Fully white with a touch of gold, cannot go wrong. Personally, I really love that colourway. But what else out there have Nike released in the Superflies that you like?
Do you know what? I love the Vittorias. Solid white, solid gold, massive ticks from me. But it doesn't just have to be a solid colourway. It's not what we're saying. They don't have to be just 1 or 2 colours. Because looking at the Motion Blur pack, we had that white to pink. It had that really nice grading and it went from the back to the front. So that actually looks really nice. We don't like it where it's just straight up half and half, but when they do give it a gradient, I think it looks amazing. And talking of gradient designs, the Chapter 4s, the Forged for Greatness, from that silver into the orange, I thought they looked incredible as well. So although the Superfly 5 started pretty weak with looking too bold to catch the eye, I think recently they've actually started to make some really good looking ones. But it's not just Nike who are renowned for releasing some pretty bold launch designs. What about the 3 stripes of Adidas?
So Adidas have just released their Nemesis silo, of course, and now those boots in that launch colourway just a little bit too busy for me. Too much black, too much white, all in those stripes. Makes me thinking of wearing zebra on my feet. I wouldn't be able to run around the pitch without it catching my eyes. What are your thoughts on them?
Do you know what? The Adidas brand, I really like Adidas. I know there's a lot of you guys at home that think we're Nike fanboys. I like Nike and I also really like Adidas. And when I was growing up, the Predators were the boots to have every single time a new generation came out. I wanted them in the launch colourway, which was black, red and white. And they looked amazing. They were so popular and they sold out incredibly quick. And also throughout almost an entire season, people wanted those original colourways. They weren't bold, they weren't too clashy, nothing like that. 3 nice simple colours that work together. So for Adidas to now bring out their Nemesis in that black and white stripes with a little bit of solar yellow, I think they're like, just like Nike, they're trying to be a little bit too bold, which is a shame. But as I said with the Nike one, I can completely understand and appreciate it because no doubt at all, they do catch the eye. So although we did just say that we weren't the biggest fans of the launch Nemesis design and colourway, one thing that you could see is in the future Adidas are actually going to release a much more neutral colour one. Because the launch design was so bold, it's caught the eye. They're now a headline boot, so hopefully Adidas in the future are going to bring out a more neutral one, as I said, which is going to be much more popular and sell a lot more. What colourway would you like to see?
So personally, being a classical boot lover, I'd like to see a much more almost full black colourway, maybe a little bit of touch of colour on the trim, who knows. But I've personally been much more inclined to wear those on my feet than the launch colourway. I feel like there'd be a lot more me as a boot, and I feel like a lot of other people would actually prefer that as well.
And I totally agree. I think there are so many amateurs out there who do prefer solid black, solid white colourways, and that goes exactly the same for professional players on the world stage as well. Looking at a player like Marcus Rashford, he actually came out and said how he prefers the solid black colourways, so he actually wore the Hyper and Phantom 3 Low in that Strike Night pack, which was just black, silver, red. Really nice and simple. Don't get me wrong, you are going to get a lot of players out there who do want to wear yellows, pinks, golds and reds, but at the end of the day, it all does come down to personal preference, but we think that the more nice colourways are those more traditional. So going back to another Nike boot this time and looking at the Nike Magista Obra 2 and also Opus 2. Now what actually happened with the launch design?
The launch colourway was absolutely mad. It had yellows, it had blues, it had pinks, it had everything, and that heat map graphic, I personally just couldn't get my head around it. I didn't know what I was looking at. Was it a football boot? What was it? What did you think?
Do you know what? The launch design was atrocious. So many colours going on, as Tom said. But what has happened since is there's been so much more nicer colourways actually coming out with the heat map you can't really see whatsoever anymore. Because I think Nike actually realised that it doesn't look that great. But again, launch design, you want it to be bold, you want it to be seen, and you want people to start talking about it. So that's why they released it with that crazy heat map graphic, and obviously on the Opus 2 came out with that chickenpox looking upper, but they have since taken it all away, given it a complete new upper, and now this time there's not even a heat map graphic or exposed dimples anywhere to be seen. So we've already mentioned about the half and half of the Superfly 5, and we've also touched on the Hyper and the Phantom 3. But apart from the Strike Night pack, which was solid black, the obviously launch design was so bold and crazy, and obviously some other colourways have come out as well, which again, really clashing with those two colours going on. Are you a fan of the actual design of it?
Once again, with the half and half, not really. I actually wore the launch colourway of the Hyper Venoms, and just on your feet, they look a little bit crazy. The half and half just isn't quite for me. If you do get the two colours right, you could probably get away with it.
Yep.
I know you like the Motion Blur pack.
Yep.
That's actually a colour you like. Personally, I'm still not too big a fan of that, but just the half and half doesn't quite do it for me. I want one solid colour.
Do you know what? That is what it comes down to. I think it is personal preference, but obviously a solid colourway for us is always going to be the winner. But if you can complement the two colours, or if it's 3 colourways, 4 colourways, all on one boot, then it has to be the right selection of actual colours. But at the end of the day, we can understand why brands do it, because they do look so eye-catching. The Phantom 3 is probably the most eye-catching on the pitch right now, looking on TV, and it almost looks like a player is wearing 2 different boots. When they're running down the wing, on one side you might see orange, and on the other foot you might just see green. So it does look really intricate and also interesting, but that is why they do it. It's all about making the boots look eye-catching, but as a shame, they do look a little bit ugly at the same time. So hopefully, brands will just start to release nice looking colourways. Looking back to the Predators, as I said, those black, white and red, every single time a new silo is released, a new generation, just stick with those colourways. But that wraps up today's video. Let us know what you guys think. Are boots getting ugly with all the crazy colourways, or do you actually prefer that? Definitely personal preference. Let us know in the comment section below. But as I said, that wraps up today's video. So guys, hope you enjoyed it, and as always,
we'll see you next time.